Hey guys, I'm back, and in today's video, I will be showing you guys how to boost properly as a red hive. This video is ideally targeted towards people that are high level red hives that have double passive and a dark side. However, if for whatever reason you don't have all of what I said before, I do advise you to stay for at least the beginning part of this video since I will start with the basics and make my way up from there. It is very important to at least understand the basics of boosting as a red hive, so even if you're early red, I recommend you stay a little. What I mean by boosting is a 30-minute boost when you're using pretty much all your resources to maximize your honey. If you don't think you have an ideal red hive, then click on the card above to watch my red hive guide video to see what your hive should be looking like. And if for some reason you don't understand what each mythic bee does, such as the precise bee, which I understand since it's a very complicated bee, go check out my which mythic bee is the best video since I go into detail what each mythic bee does, etc. Alright, now that we're on the same page, let's first start with the basics. A general rule of boosting as a red hive is to never ever lose your times 10 precision. The reason why you don't want to lose your precision is because not only do you collect less pollen, but it also makes you fill your backpack faster, which isn't good. Most of the pollen you get from boosting is from precise bees, targets, and supercritical chance helps even more since it collects even more pollen. Since all supercrits are instantly converted, if you lose your supercritical chance, it means all your pollen won't be instantly converted, which isn't good since red hives collect so much pollen, you'd start to fill up almost instantly. Now the next thing to keep an eye on is on your marks. Your vector bees and your carpenter bees are very important since they produce pollen mark tokens, which at max give 2.5 times pollen. Of course they make other marks, but I feel that the 2.5 times pollen is more important. If you have the proper hive, it should be quite easy to cover the whole field with marks which can give 2.5 times pollen and other buffs depending on the other marks on the field, such as fester marks or precise marks. The more marks on the field, the more likely that they will be linked together, which makes it easy to travel in the field without stepping out of the marks. Vector bees also help a lot by increasing mark duration. It is important to have a fully gifted hive, since its gifted ability, Mark Surge, is used to increase mark duration. Next is not getting shot by precise bee. When you get shot by precise bee, although it converts pollen from your backpack, it also gets rid of flame heat, which is very bad. Flame heat at max gives times 2 red pollen, so if you lose that, you're going to lose a lot of pollen, which obviously isn't good. If you don't have Star Saw, then you are likely going to be trying to get shot in order to convert, which is something that I see a lot of early red hives do. But that's why it's so important to have a double passive in order to be a red hive. There are very few times where it's fine to be shot by precise bee, but you should never do it just to be converting pollen from your bag. It's fine to do this as long as Scorching Star isn't activated, because if Scorching Star is activated, losing times 2 red pollen is a huge deal. Some other important things to keep an eye on as well as precision is red boost and focus tokens. At max, times 10 red boost gives times 30 pollen, which is super good, and at max, focus gives plus 30% critical chance. I don't think I need to explain why it's super important to keep these buffs again. But what's also tricky about this is the fact that you have to be trying to keep as many precise marks as possible while maintaining all these buffs. Another important buff to keep is flame fuel, since flames can last longer, which is super important for scorching stars, but that's pretty easy to maintain since if your hive is fully gifted, you should have 9 spicy bees. Losing your critical chance and red boost mean you make about 5 times less, you have no super crits, and times 3 less red pollen, which is obviously very bad. Now for the more difficult things about boosting. As I said earlier, you need to be staying in your marks at all times. I cannot stress how important this is to do, so please, just for my sake, never step out of your marks. Now for timing. For your Star Saw, you should be either having it active at all times, or if you don't want to use that many stingers, just use it during Scorching Stars. If you don't have a macro to keep a constant Star Saw, what you can do is use 5 stingers, 3 will activate the Star Saw, and 2 will leave the Star Saw ready to activate from just 1 stinger. You always want Star Saw to be activated with 1 stinger at all times, so it can activate the most efficient way possible. Now for the timing between X-Flame and Scorching Stars. Since most of the honey you make during a boost is because of your Scorching Star, I think it's important to learn how to activate it properly, so that when it first spawns you're able to get a bigger star to start off, since the ability produces the most amount of flames. To time Scorch Star and X-Flame, you need to get your Scorch Star to 20 out of 30 red boost tokens before getting precise marks. This will allow your Scorch to continue building up to 30 while building times 3 precise marks. To time X-Flame and Scorching Star to go off at the beginning of the Scorch Star, then do this. When your scorching star is at 28 out of 30, your X flame should be at 19 or 20 out of 25, which will activate when Scorch Star activates. On Scorch activation, refresh your precision and stay in flames. Moving around too much causes your bees to stop producing tokens and lowers their bee ability rate. Staying in flames helps the Scorch Star grow faster. If you time this just right, you should start off with 4 to 6k, which is very good. Also keep in mind you do not need a 10k Scorch Star. Some people think you just need a super big one, but this isn't true. Remember, you're trying to be the most efficient with the 45 seconds you have. So all you need is 4 to 6k, but ideally, the higher you can get it with the least amount of time, the better. To make the most out of your X flame, don't just immediately refresh the flames with your dark side. This bad timing can cause the Scorch Star to be smaller, which means less honey. If you can learn to time it perfectly, this should allow you to generate large stars easily. After you have 6k, you can just start spamming dark side so you can get dark heat, which gives more supercritical power and more red bee ability pollen. Also, if you feel you aren't making that much honey, or at least as much as you should be, you should try to get a better digital bee, since it gives field corruption and smiley tokens, which can give a lot of pollen. This is especially helpful for the target practice ability tokens, which if they get duplicated, they will collect way more pollen. Other important tokens include Inspire and Baromorph, since they give pollen multipliers. The more red drives, the better the field corruption, and the more white drives, the more the smiley token collect. And the more glitch drives means the more smiley tokens that will be produced. In other words, if you don't have good drives, you should start grinding digital bee right now. Finally, for the actual buffs you'll need. For a full boost where you plan on making as much pollen as possible, you'll need the following. Mondo Blessing, as high as you can get it, since it gives plus 10% pollen and capacity. Puffshroom Blessing times 100 since it gives capacity and also gives pollen balls. Robo Party Blessing since it can give critical power and red pollen. Sticker Stacker since it gives a lot of buffs including pollen, instant conversion, and other things. Stickbug Blessing can be nice since it gives honey per pollen. All of your nectars, you should have max invigorating and refreshing, and as much as the others as possible, since all of these combined at max give 1.25 times honey per pollen and other really important buffs. Times 5 Wealth Clock, 0.05 honey per pollen. A good amount of Balloon Blessing for extra capacity. A Super Smoothie since it is the best consumable in the game currently. Field Winds that are as high as you can get them in the field you're boosting in. A times 4 field boost using a glitter and a loaded dice. Of course you should also be using snowflakes, jelly beans, gumdrops, stingers, and other things. There are a few other things that can help a lot, such as a Galentine Shrine Blessing and Honeybee's times 2 convert rate buff, or the cold buff from BPM. But those are harder to get, so it's fine if you don't have these. I might have missed a few things, but that's mostly it for this video. I wanted to keep it pretty simple to prevent any confusion. If you want to see an entire guide, then make sure to go check out Semi's Google document going over how to properly boost in much more detail. This will be in the description and in the pinned comment. That's mostly it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm hosting an art competition in my Discord server, and the winners get prizes such as stickers / bee quips and vouchers. My Discord server is linked in the description and in the pinned comment if you want to go check that out. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.